We've come to my favorite portion of the game show. Now, in every episode, I like to play a game with my special guest. And Russell, since you're my special guest today, are you ready to play a game?
I'm ready.
I'm glad to hear you are, because this is the game of the day.
Game of the day.
And Russell, I know from watching you on Survivor and from just talking to you that you love to speak your mind. So I thought, what a better game to play than an actual Survivor challenge where speaking your mind is the point of the game. This is Touchy Subjects. Touchy Subjects. Now, are you familiar with Touchy Subjects from Survivor?
No.
Well, Touchy Subjects...
They did that on Survivor?
Yeah, this is the game. So here's how this works. This is the actual challenge used in Survivor, in which Jeff Probst asks the castaways a series of revealing questions about their tribe mates. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
I remember something like that.
Right. So for your version, I'll be asking you a few Survivor-themed questions that I've always been curious about, and I want to know how you're going to answer them.
Okay.
So there's no winning or losing in this game. This is just for all those listening at home to hear what you would have to say from these questions.
Just kind of like juicy details.
Yeah. So there's no luxurious reward you're going to play for in this game, but the good news is, since you can't lose, there's no way you can be sent to Exile Island.
Okay. That's good.
All right. It sounds like you're ready to go, so let's play Touchy Subjects. And here comes your first question. You ready?
Ready.
Based on their previous seasons played, who did not deserve to be on the villains tribe on Heroes vs. Villains?
Parvati.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She wasn't even on the tribe till the last second, too. If you look at her colors, she was supposed to be a hero, and they changed her the last second.
Oh, really? So who was going to be the other villain?
It was going to be Natalie.
Oh,
remember Natalie?
From Micronesia?
Yeah. She was actually at Ponderosa waiting to play.
Really?
Yep. She was there.
I've been wanting to see Natalie play again, but I think that would have been a bad choice because that means you'd have so many people from Fans vs. Favorites on that season.
Right.
With Natalie, you would have 5 players from the original Fans vs. Favorite season, along with Parvati, Amanda, Sari, and James.
She was there, though. She was sitting right there at the table, winking at me.
And that goes to show you how Survivor loves to bring back players with a past relationship in an all-returning player season. Because, of course, Natalie and Sari and Parvati and Amanda pulled off one of the biggest moves ever with eliminating Eric and giving the immunity necklace away.
Right.
All right, let's get to the vote. Eric, you have the individual immunity necklace. As always, you can give it up to somebody if you choose to. Otherwise, it is yours and you are safe tonight.
This is a very tough decision for me for a lot of reasons. As a competitor, I've always said, you know what, keep your fate in your own hands. But there's so many things weighing on my mind. I've made a lot of mistakes in the past couple days. And I know that actions do speak louder than words. I want to give individual immunity to Natalie.
Suddenly, Natalie, you are safe. Big change right before the vote. Natalie is now safe from the vote. Everybody else is fair game, and it is time to vote. First vote, Eric. Parvati. 1 vote Eric, 1 vote Parvati. Eric. 2 votes Eric. 13th person voted out and the 6th member of our jury, Eric. That's 3, that's enough. You need to bring me your torch.
You guys drive me crazy.
I've lost my ring as dumbest survivor ever.
I should have known better.
Eric, the tribe has spoken. I think that is what you call a life lesson.
I guess that's what they were going off of.
Yeah.
All right, so you say Parvati. Well, she became your alliance, so good thing that she was able to make the cast.
Good thing, yep.
Here comes your next question. Which castaway that you've played one of your seasons with do you most call a friend today?
Oh. If you'd asked me a year ago, it would be a lot different than it is today. But I would say, I guess somebody I can count on the most maybe would be Monica Padilla.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, and she didn't even vote for me.
That's right. Were you a big fan of her going into Second Chance?
Yes, I was. I did some interviews, and I tried to help her get numbers so she can play again. She's told me that, she was young, and you were able to influence her a lot more, but she told me that she made a mistake by not voting for me.
Interesting, wow. I think a lot of people made a mistake.
That's because of Ponderosa, because they changed their mind over there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people made a mistake of not voting for you.
Right.
All right, next question. Who is the most overrated Survivor player?
Sandra. Easy. She is so overrated. You know how I can say that?
Because you played with her.
I played with her. I seen her in action. And guys, I give credit where credit's due all the time. But she does nothing. She did nothing. They brought her along, and everybody brought her to the end because they thought they could beat her because she does nothing. Now, the third time she played, she actually did something. She was actually playing the game. She was trying to take control of the game because in her mind, it was a bunch of washed-up people that nobody knew that she could control. So she wouldn't have never done that if it was been a legend season. She would have done the same gameplay. But she tried to actually play the game, and that's what happens to Sandra when she plays the game. Instead of what usually she says, as long as it's not me, that's her thing.
My game is pretty simple. As long as it's not me, I don't care who goes home with you. I really don't.
Right.
Well, she didn't do that just now on Game Changers. She actually played. But when she played, she goes home.
I also think that the players that were on Game Changers did influence that, because on Heroes vs. Villains, you had so many great players that she could sit back and she could latch on to. But with this one, she actually had to make moves and take control of some of her tribe mates because they weren't going to do anything.
Right.
So that's how I see it as well.
But trust me, she's happy with people not doing nothing. If you don't do nothing on Survivor, you're not a threat. If you're not a threat, they'll bring you along to the end, and you'll not win most of the time, like Troy's in just now. He didn't do nothing. He goes to the end. Sometimes you win not doing nothing. Natalie White wins. Sandra wins. That's a strategy. An actual, real strategy, don't do nothing. Just sit around and don't do nothing, and just do what everybody tells you to do. And you can go a long ways that way, but on the most part, nobody remembers who you are. But it didn't work like that for Sandra. She got really popular by not doing nothing. And I don't even know why she was trying to get rid of me. I wish they'd release some off-the-camera scenes of me telling her, Sandra, what are you doing? I'm legitimately trying to take you to the end of this game. Like, I want you to go to the end with me. But that's what I want. I want to take you to the end of this game with me. Why are you trying to vote me out, girl? And then that's when you hear her saying, Russell thinks he can beat me at the end. I don't know about that. You see, those little comments like that tells the whole story. I don't just tell a story. I tell you why the story is real when I say it, because I have proof. It's like a court of law. I have evidence. They said this because of this. I can't just say like Natalie White tried to do. She tried to say, that was my whole plan the entire time, that line with an aggressive person. Well, Natalie, show me the evidence that was your plan. Now you won. It's easy to say that since everybody else is telling you that.
All right, here we go. Next question.
Okay.
Now, on the podcast, you mentioned that if you were given the opportunity, you would love to play with Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other player that you would like to play with or against in a future season?
I'd like to play with Big James again. I never got to play with him because he was on the other side. As soon as I got there, he wasn't there anymore. I'd like to play with James, but I'd like to be on his same alliance because I don't know if I want to go head-to-head with physical challenges, even though I did, and I'm the one that took him down. Remember?
That's
I
right.
took him down with that knee. That was me that pushed him.
That's right.
Russell hanging with James. James takes a hard hit. Big battle down below. Danielle comes up with it.
You all right, James?
Uh-oh, something broke.
I took the giant down. It's like David and Goliath. But if you watch it, I'm concerned. I kind of flinch to catch him because his knee was popping out of socket. It looked weird.
Yeah.
Because they were like just flopping around. He really messed up his knee. For years after that, I remember seeing him, and it was just messed up.
Well, then they retired that challenge.
Yeah, that was a rough challenge, boy. That was rough. First one was way worse, though, when I did that same challenge in 19.
Yeah, Schmergen Brawl. That's what the challenge was called.
Yeah, it was Smergenball.
Well, that was also the challenge where Ben got kicked out.
A big battle on the ground. Ben, stop! Ben, out of the challenge. First time in the history of Survivor Somebody's been pulled out of a challenge. Take a spot here, you're done.
What was your thoughts when Jeff Probst, for the first time ever, pulled someone out of
I don't know why
the
they
challenge?
kicked him out, because I was getting elbowed to the face after that, and nobody kicked John out. It was like everybody was just rough.
Yeah.
But the person that I would not want to play against is the obvious, people like Laura or Laura's daughter,
Sierra.
because they're not even playing the game. They're just coming after me, you know?
Right. Well, that's what happened in Redemption Island, I feel, too.
Oh, that's what happened, yeah.
Now, last question for the Touchy Subjects game. Which Survivor player do you most respect how they played the game? It could be
That
from...
I played with, or...
It can be your season. It could be just from being a fan of the show.
I think one of the most impressive wins that wasn't like a personality type deal was Kim.
Kim from One World.
The winner of Survivor 1 World.
Yes, I think she played an amazing game. And crazy thing is, when she stabs somebody in the back, they're her best friends still today. And that takes a strong person to be able to get stabbed in the back and to be able to still do what they're supposed to do.
When I asked you which players do you hope to play with one day, I was hoping you'd actually say Kim. Because I feel like you two would be one of the strongest pairings in Survivor.
Right? If she trusted me, then we would be dangerous. Dangerous.
And from the seasons you played, who would you say you respected most? Besides yourself.
Right? From all the time I played, it has to be Parvati. Now, I downplay some of the moves because they weren't really the moves. They were my moves. So I do downplay some of the moves, but Parvati is the most, I said this on my podcast, I don't know if you heard it, a CBS main executive tells me when she walks in a bar or a room, she oozes sex appeal.
Yes, I did hear that one.
Right, and what she does is she's so charming, she can truly stab you in the back and be your best friend afterwards.
Right.
Like when I say I'm one of the top strategical players, when it comes to socially, it's crazy how it works. She's just the most charming person I've ever met in my life. So, that's it.
And that was the game of the day, Touchy Subjects. Touchy Subjects. Thank you so much for playing that game.
No problem.